Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and we're going to talk about the shocking decisions that Dungeons & Dragons demands of its players. And it is incredible. It really, and all this was, and we're going to talk about Matthew Mercer, we're going to talk about Critical Role, and we're going to talk about how Dungeons & Dragons takes you to the brink intellectually and emotionally, right? And frankly, spiritually, right? Let's talk about this. All right. So if you don't know, there was a PPK, a partial party kill in season and actually, yeah, I think you can call it season 3. In season 3, episode 33 of Critical Role. So right now, Critical Role's had a few different seasons. You want to put that in air quotes. Vox Machina, Mighty Nine, and they are currently in Bell's Hells. So we're talking about Bell's Hells, episode 33. Okay, that's a lot of episodes, by the way. Man, they throw down so much content. It's amazing. But there was something really stunningly important in that happened in Critical Role that points to the importance of points to a ontological truth about Dungeons & Dragons, in my humble opinion. So first of all, what is the ontological truth about Dungeons & Dragons? Dungeons & Dragons is a human improvement engine, right? I'm the only person on the internet who says this. I feel very strongly about it. I know I'm a person standing in a field saying something alone, right? But just because somebody's saying something alone, that don't mean they're wrong. It might mean they're just first, and that's where I'm at. I'm first to realize this about Dungeons & Dragons. So Dungeons & Dragons is a human improvement engine. It demands so much of us emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually that the idea that it is a game is fundamentally ludicrous. And I think the evidence for this is mounting daily, right? There are just things that happen on Dungeons & Dragons that do not happen on games, right? Okay? So let's get into this. So what did Matthew Mercer do to prove, in my humble opinion, to present evidence, in my humble opinion, of the ontological truth? What is Dungeons & Dragons? It is not a game. It is a human improvement engine. And in my humble opinion, Matthew Mercer just presented proof of that, right? Evidence, right? Also, Marisha Ray did, Liam O'Brien, and Ashley Johnson. Also, and Sam Riegel, right? Everybody at that table presented evidence of the ontological truth of Dungeons & Dragons. So what happened? You had a partial party kill, okay? Now, what happened then, right? So three player characters are dead, right? They have failed their saves, okay? And they have failed their death saves. They have failed their death saves, and like we're beyond like stabilization. They are dead, right? And so at this point, you need to revivify. Since it happened so recently, you could do a revivify. Okay, so here's where we go, right? So basically, you have Orem, and you have Laudna, and you have Fjern, right? They are all dead, dropped. All right, they are fit to be put in the dirt. Okay. And you know what happens, what Matthew Mercer then presides over? Do you know what Ashley Johnson and the entire Critical Role team does at this point? They discuss who lives and who dies. There is absolutely no more emotionally, intellectually, spiritually resonant conversation than what happens right then. Right? They're like, 3 people are dead. They are gone. We have the power to choose who remains dead and who gets additional life. Right? So how is this decided? Utility? Who's the most useful? But who's the most useful to who? The family of the person who fell? The party who's currently with them? The society at whole, like the entire realm, right? Whose utility, the party? What, your utility is more important than the realm's utility? If you bring back Orm, Orm could serve the realm for another, 80 years and do far more than Laudna or Fionn ever could? Or Fionn, her mother, she has a good relationship with her mother and father, but Laudna has a terrible relationship with her mother and father. So if we bring back Fionn, her utility of simply, bringing joy to this family is much higher than Laudna's, right? So they actually discuss very carefully, very in depth, this person lives, this person dies. We will measure them. We will rate them. We will choose which one lives and which one dies. Let me tell you right now, if you live without Dungeons and Dragons and you never in your life discuss who lives and who dies, what is the value of a life, when there is a choice on who should be given life and who should be given death, right? That is a deep, profound philosophy. It doesn't happen in games, right? Like, this is an exploration of humanity that is unparalleled anywhere in any narrative, right, engine that has ever been created by humanity. The idea that Dungeons and Dragons is a game is laughable, right? Especially when you live in America and the question of life and death is no longer abstract, but incredibly practical, and cuts across about 6 different aspects of our religion, our politics, and our culture all the time, right? So the people who are practicing this and discussing these things openly in a context that is safe and allows iteration have far more knowledge than people who don't, who come to this for the first time when they're like 80-year-old mother is about to pass. It's incredible, right? And might have an organ that should be given or not given. Do they have a life-sustaining? The idea that you would be dealing with these questions without having a test run, right? Multiple test runs, because you run in many different campaigns. Yeah, the idea that Dungeons & Dragons is a game is utterly ludicrous, and it becomes even more ludicrous every day that passes. There are things that happen on it that don't happen anywhere else. There are questions about race. There are questions about immigration. There are questions about culture, religion, and politics that are never breached in any other game, not even remotely. Or they are breached so slowly and so clumsily and so limitedly compared to Dungeons & Dragons that it doesn't even count. All that's my humble opinion. I'd like to hear your humble opinion. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.